All right, looks like we're good. Let's see if we got some sound. Give me 1 second. Thank you guys for hanging on there for a few minutes. All right, we're good. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? I hope you guys had a great week. We're gonna cover some charts tonight. I'm gonna cover at least one of the trades that I had. excuse me. This week, which was an Nvidia long. I think I took about 3 trades, possibly 4 this week, and I'm almost certain that they were all to the long side. Right? I kind of was against the trend, catching those bounces. Not something I would recommend. So I'm going to go into the trade from Friday. I'll play that back because I think it's important. Like, we go back through the trade. If you don't record yourself, I think you should, right? Because you should watch yourself in the trade itself and see how you're reacting compared to your analysis and all that stuff, because it's important. It's going to give you insight on how you trade going forward. It's just, there's this psychological thing that I can't explain, but it's important. I do it. I feel like if you haven't done it, maybe give it a shot. If the football game's too loud, let me know. If you guys could do us a solid, hit the like button, thumb it up, subscribe, share it with a friend. We greatly appreciate it. We thank you guys for being here. It's a new year. If you guys have any new goals, right, write them down. Write them down when you wake up, when you go to bed. Stick to them. Don't deviate, right? As time goes on, you may kind of like fall off the path. Recognize if you're falling off the path and not working to those goals. And those goals, do you have do you have things written out that you can get yourself to that goal? What's it going to take? What do you got to do? Things like that. So I want to talk about one of the biggest things that I think is coming up for 2024 that I haven't had. Like, it's just been bugging me because I've been watching, I watch a lot of shows. I watch a lot of different things from, I have about maybe 10 that I watch, other than that, I don't really I'm not scouring YouTube. But there are a few that I watch, and it's like from CNBC, I haven't heard anyone talk about the biggest catalyst this year, right? And I'm going to get into it right now, right? Then we'll cover that trade, and then we'll jump right in the charts. We'll go see, I have a few ideas for this week coming up, and we'll go over what we have coming up, kind of the time frame on what I think the markets are going to do next week in accordance to CPI, PPI, and some of the other data points that we get. So if I take you here, okay, so this is what I'm thinking in my opinion. This is the biggest catalyst, and this is the bank term lending program. Okay. Now, this is let's see where we're at. We're at 141. So this expires in March. Okay, this expires in close to 2 months, right? Kind of a month and a half, really. We're a week into January. Are they going to extend it? Because this is why this is important. Okay, let's go back to whatever we want to use, right? We'll go to the S&Ps. And in my opinion, in my humble opinion, again, none of this is financial advice. You guys should seek a financial advisor because I am not one. So let's go to the S&P. All right, this kicked off in March. You had SVB, First Republic, and it was an equivalent to 2008 out of 4 or 5 banks. It was huge, right? But the Fed stepped up. They did what they had to do. So they started this in March. If you don't remember, they got together on like a Sunday, and they came up with this idea. And this is a fabulous idea. And what this is if banks have to sell bonds, the government or the Fed, from my understanding, the Fed will let them borrow what they need, interest free, I guess. Short and sweet, right? They run low on deposits, on money. They have to sell bonds at a loss, okay? And in order not to do that, they stepped in and came up with this program. Now, this kicked off on March 8th. Now, if we go back to last year at March 8th, and I remember that Monday, so there's the 13th, 14th, 10th. It might have been after. I'm pretty sure it's right in here. Because this is where the downtrend stopped, right? This is over the weekend. So this is March 10th. This is March 13th. You come in with the gap down. And in my opinion, this here, okay, was, in my opinion, starting to be another lower high. Right? Another lower high. I mean, honestly, I was trading this day. This was a 20-point day in October. Now, this doesn't mean that I think that we would have taken that level out. But I also am not sure if, because you had a few things that happened other than these banks, which was Neel Kashkari. If you guys remember, Neel Kashkari came out and was pretty much saying in this area up here, let's see, where am I at? February, and I think it was this bounce right here is where Neel Kashkari came out. I'm pretty certain that when we started to sell off a bit, Neel Kashkari, right around the same time, said that rate hikes, we're on the back end of rate hikes. Like, the cycle is about over with, right? So the market's like, okay, you know, that was the confirmation that we were on the back end of that. But then at the same time, I can't remember, but it was like a week or two, a few days later, or, you know, right around the same time afterwards, you got these banks that started to, you know, first was SVB talking about raising capital, and if a bank has to raise money, like, that's an issue. You know, it doesn't take a rocket science or a banker to understand, if you're a bank, why do you have to raise money? What's going on? Obviously, something isn't right. So the Fed stepped in, and what did we do from here? What did we do from here, guys? All right, you can say that the rally started from here, and which it did. I will agree. This is a nice double bottom, and we, you know, you come in with that gap down, and that was a 20-point day. I'll never forget it. I was long 3 separate times that day. I was long 3 different separate times that day. May have been 2, but I'm almost certain I was long 3 different. I traded that long, at least 2. I'm pretty sure 3 times that day. I'll never forget it. So from there, we start our rally. All right, we start our rally, and then we come into this consolidation, and this is the government shutdown. All right, this is the talks of the government shutdown, and like you can see here, if I pull this over, you can see like the market's like waiting to make a decision. Is the government going to shut down, which could also in turn cause, you know, more deterioration in asset prices, right? It's just going to be more issues from GDP. You know, if the government shut down, the Fed's going to be shut down, right? So they did not shut down, and then we continued our rally, and all this big pullback was because I remember waiting this day as well, and I'm like, this pennant right here I had drawn out here, and I missed the long because it took off. It took off out of the gates, and sometimes it does that, right? So it did pull itself back, and you had to grab that long. I just, for some reason, missed it. But anyway, this is coming to an end, all right? Now we're at all-time highs. I haven't heard anything about whether or not they're going to extend it. Because why? This is so important, okay? Because in my opinion, there are 3 things that are going to happen. They're going to extend it, right? And we just go on about our merry way. That's how I'm going to take it, unless something else happens. But so out of the 3, they're going to extend it. All right? They either extend it. Sorry, guys. Let me move this over a bit. I don't have live on. So the Fed has their meetings. They have their meeting coming up. They decide to extend it, right? Something gets done about it before we get to that date. It'll probably happen close to that date, right? Everything happens at last minute with the government. It gets extended, and then rates kind of just, things I think still stay the same for some time, okay? Two, they don't extend it, and now where is that middle ground for where rates need to be for them to pull rates back to where if there are issues, where is that middle ground where banks will be okay and don't have to worry about if they're if they're low on deposits and they need cash, that they don't have to sell bonds at a loss? Where is that middle ground? All right. Now it's not going to be one specific price, but it'll be an area. Or three, they don't extend it and they don't cut rates, and then we start getting talks of banks starting to fail again or issues in the banking system again, because I promise you it will come. But here I have noticed, you guys see this chart that I've given you. All right, now I'm not a banker, I'm not a financial advisor, so a lot of this banking stuff, runs deep. Now look at this just extension. Now, are they providing a whole bunch of money to set them forth for a few months? Do they decide to extend it for 8 months? Another year, right? 6 months? What is it? Because I think this is why the Fed is why they're talking about lowering rates. It's because they're coming up on this date. All right? Now, are they going to play around? Do you think that the Federal Reserve, in my opinion, I don't. Do you think the Federal Reserve is just going to flip a coin and say, let's not extend it and just see what happens? I mean, you could say, like, why would you wait for something bad to happen to say, okay, well, we'll just step back in? So if you want to be professional about it and not, do things the way they should be done, I think, in my opinion, this should be extended, right? Until they can bring rates back down to a normal area, which even where we are is kind of normal, but it's been a while since we've been here. And it's just, you've seen what's happened. There were issues in the banking system, and it didn't take long. It took 10 months. It took under a year. Really, if that, because you haven't had the full effect, you'll probably start seeing the full effect of those rates. So, in my opinion, this right here is the biggest catalyst of 2024. Do they continue this for another 12 months? Do they continue it for another 6 months? Whatever. Do they not continue it? And if they don't continue it, where are they going to put rates? Right? Do they start lowering rates to get ahead of this? Or they don't extend it and they don't raise rates. And then we have another issue with the banking system, and which is why I'm going to get into the markets. It's like, I feel like the markets are up here waiting because we're coming up onto a lot of catalysts. Inflation is dwindling down. You've had some issues with these shipping lanes and all that stuff, but really that's a lot of noise. If we start seeing prices start to rise, I think if we get, a little bump in CPI, it's not going to be anything crazy unless you get, these expectations. What's important when you guys are watching CPI numbers is how far are the estimates off. That's where the volatility really comes in. If it's right around where they are, a little higher, a little lower, break even, you'll get volatility that morning, of course, because that's what we're worried about. It's what the Fed's initiative is to bring down inflation without killing the labor market, but they would like the labor market to soften. So if we start to see issues, which I don't think we will, I think, the people around the world will work hard to get things where they need to be, and I feel like things are calming down. It's not what it was years ago, few years ago. So we do have CPI this week. Now we'll get into some of the data, and then we'll go right to the charts. You have some bill auctions here, and look, they're still sitting 5%. We have Bostic on Monday. Let's see, and this is another cool piece of information too, is the used car prices, month over month and year over year. And before I exit out of that, I'm telling you guys, in my opinion, it is crazy that not one person, or it's not the topic of 2024, and I feel like it should be. The biggest issue started to cause when the was the banks failing, and they stepped up and solved it, right? And we're coming up on this time frame where the government's going to have to get together. I think it's what defense spending. They have a few things. I think it's like two or three things that they have to agree upon, and um, then you have the Fed and this coming up. So with this huge extension on that chart that I showed you, right? This is the Fed providing liquidity. This is the Fed's balance sheet starting to taper up. Now, they're just taking it from one area to another. I would assume. Now, look at this just huge jump. Now, are they trying to get ahead of it by the banks like just kind of like storing some of this before it ends? We'll find out next Wednesday, because every Wednesday this gets released. It usually comes out around Wednesday afternoon after the market closes. I'm not sure on the time, but I'm telling you, if they do not extend this, and we start to see the Fed not raise rates, we will see this market back working its way back down to 420s, 400s. All right, and if that's the case, I will be there buying with both hands. Right? I don't want to say that. I don't want to be the person that says I hope we do, right? But selfishly, pullbacks are where you make your long-term money, right? That's where you make your money, is when the market gives you these prices that are discounted, and you can scoop up some really good companies at good prices. So this is going to be, in my book, what I'm looking for, the biggest thing in 2024, this bank term funding program. So again, we'll go into what we have this week. All right. And I said 2 weeks ago that we could start to see yields probably bounce. I still think yields pull back a little bit further. I think the dollar still pulls back a bit. A bit, not a lot, but we're coming into the time where we're going to come into a lot of catalysts. We have, as you can see, if you're looking on this chart, you have a lot of Fed speakers through just Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday, or Monday and Wednesday is what it looks like. We have some API crude data, RCM tip, economic optimism index, Red Book, import, export, balance of trade on Tuesday. We'll go to some of the more important ones. Australia, balance of trade. And then Thursday, we have CPI. All right, we have CPI on Thursday. Now, remember from last month, PPI was great. I think CPI came in right around where the expectations were, but PPI, pulled back a decent amount. We have initial jobless claims. You got to keep watching these jobless claims. It was, this number didn't surprise me coming in as low as it did, with being the holidays, being the time of year that it was, people going out, shopping, and then the returns, everything that happens, before and after Christmas and New Year's. So, CPI, PPI on Friday, jobless claims again on Thursday. And then you have China's inflation rate. Again, if you don't know, what is it? Like, it's a huge percentage, right? Some people don't care about what happens around the world. Well, you should, because 80% of the S&P, I may be wrong there, 80% of the S&P does business not just in the United States, but around the world, right? So it would be foolish to think that data from other countries doesn't matter. All right. I could have swore we had something else. Maybe I must have missed it, but PPI, CPI, initial jobless claims. And that's about it. So I will be taking now. Monday? I want to see if we have a bit of volatility. You'll have, Fed Bostic comes out at 12:30 at lunchtime. So this market, we may get a bounce back, right? Just to, we've been pulling back to the downside. And if you notice, when we've pulled back on these downsides, you've been having some buyers like Apple, right? Apple's just falling out of bed. We talked about that Friday, but we'll go into charts and we're going to talk about that. So, Bostic, it's towards the end of the week is where you can expect some of the volatility. We're coming into earnings. I know it feels like we just got out of earnings, but the banks report on Friday. JP Morgan was on our list last week, right? JP Morgan was on our list last week. It actually saved me trading Tesla instead of JP Morgan. Not to say that I would have traded, but I was watching Tesla at the time in the morning and then didn't go back to JP Morgan until later. It's been on a heck of a run, and we'll go into that. So you have Tilray Tuesday before open. What is that? CMC Commercial Materials or Commercial Metals. Accolade Jeffries on Monday. Tilray Tuesday before the open. MSC before the open. We have WD-40, Price Smart, some of these other companies that I'm not really paying attention to as far as trading, right? As far as trading, unless there's a surprise with these companies, you may get some volatility. See, I'm a trader who wants liquidity, right? I want to be where the liquidity is. So unless there's a surprise here, some major announcement from these companies, I'll look at them when they come out. Albertsons is coming out as well Tuesday before open. So Friday before the open on Friday. So as you can see, towards the end of the week is where things are really going to start to kick off. So plan that when we come into this trading week that, not to say Monday or Tuesday you could have a nice move, but you could probably expect, a little lower volatility a couple days with, Tuesday or Wednesday, or Monday and Tuesday, depending. Again, you have the Fed speaker on Wednesday. So just plan on the end of at least I am planning on the end of the week, really where I'm going to have my focus on how I'm going to make my money. I've had a really great start to the year, guys. I had a small profit break even, and I've had nothing but green trades this week. I may have made like 3, maybe 4 trades. I have to go back and look. So Friday before the open, J.P. Morgan, United Healthcare, Delta, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, BlackRock, BNY Mellon, and Wipro. How is that for an earnings kickoff? Right? How is that for an earnings kickoff? I'm going to have to choose wisely. I can tell you right now, Friday morning, I'm going to have some fun. At least I hope to, right? I'm here to make money. I'm not here to have fun. But so if you haven't heard the news, Boeing had some issues. Let's go to... So Boeing had a fuselage blowout. Well, I think it was Alaska Airlines. Let's see here. Let's see. Has nobody reported this yet? Let's see here. Let me go to, I think it was Alaska Airlines window blowout. All right, so 5 Boeing 737 flights canceled out of Orlando. Now, they have grounded, I think, 63 planes from what I've seen. So I did read an article earlier, but the FAA has grounded all Boeing 737-9 MAX jet airliners following a window blowout on Alaska Airlines flight. 5 of those planes are at Orlando International Airport. And if you haven't seen Boeing, it just fell out of bed. And I mean, this stock sold off and then rebounded, completely rebounded. And I'm talking 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, right? Let's look at this daily chart here. Let's go back. So 2 months, I'm sorry. So it sold off for 2 months, reverse, head and shoulders, pulls back, and this thing just ripped. I mean, this is a huge percentage gain on Boeing. From low to high, it's a 51% gain. If you could step in front of that, but you really didn't have, it wasn't about stepping in front of it. This is a beautiful pattern here. That's a really nice pattern. Especially this retest, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And you're getting that increase in volume on the buy side, on the right-hand side of that inverse pattern. So Boeing's going to be on my list Monday, right? We can go over and chart this right now. So I can guarantee you this level will be broken. I'm sure you may get a gap down and test this 100 to 200 day moving average, and it'll be back down to 220 to. It all depends, right? Because me personally, I don't think this was that big of an issue, but it could be. Like, is there something going on that they're not doing? You know, it's a 737. They're the newer planes. This is why airlines are tough, right? And this is why a lot of these airlines are still on their lows, right? Investors just, and you can't blame them. I guess it's a tough industry. I mean, look at Boeing. It's kind of it's right around where the rest of the market is. Not your FANG stocks, but the rest of the market's right around here. Your Coinbases, your Shopify's. I think Shopify's there. I haven't looked at it, but so it feels like we'll probably see a gap down on Boeing and maybe look for that 225 area to see if it can hold on. 225 to me feels like a or that's 240. 240. And it's a shame, but nobody was injured. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, with all the flights that are not just here but around the world daily, what is this? 220. Let me see here. I'm going to cover this real quick. Well, that's not happening. Yeah, damn, you might see 200. We might see 200. That's not good. That's not good. Let me go back to the daily chart real quick. If you guys have any stocks, you guys want to go over anything, throw them in the chat. We'll cover them. If you guys have any questions, throw the questions in the chat. Do me a solid. Do us a solid. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. We trade here Monday through Friday. I come on about 7:30. We come up with a game plan. We check the news. Try to put ourselves in what we think is the best give us the best opportunity. And if you're new, give it time. If you have any questions, like this is your opportunity. If you're new and there's something you're wondering, because if you're wondering something, there's somebody else out there that's watching this that is wondering the same thing and would like to know the same thing. So you'd be doing them a solid as well. Tell a friend. Email it to some random strangers or some friends that you think that would like to be here. We greatly appreciate it. So, this is tough. I think Boeing, we're going to definitely see 220, 221 here in this area. Man, look, you have some gaps here as well. There's some gaps to be filled here. It's a shame. It's a shame. But, I feel like a lot of, you don't have many instances, and you got to give them up to them. Because you're talking about flying X amount of people in the air, and, little things are going to happen. Right. This wasn't severe. It was probably scary for the people on board. I watched a few of the videos. God forbid anybody that flew for the first time and that just completely ruined their opinion on flying. But I love flying, right? Um, I don't have it right now, but I would love to get my pilot's license, right? That's something that you guys may not know is, I watch a lot of those. Um, I watch a lot of flying videos and pilots and stuff like that. But so Boeing, man, this sucks. So these are the levels I'm going to be watching for on Boeing. Completely to the downside on a longer term basis, I'm going to be looking for 190. All right, that'll be 190. It all depends what happens. We're going to get news, as days go on. You'll get news about this, about what's going on. Um, let's cover this right now. I mean, I can almost certainly tell you that we're going to come in with a gap down. They've grounded 737-9 MAX jet airliners, blah, 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 Saturday afternoon. FlightAware shows the cancellation of one United flight at Orlando International of 737 MAX. 4 other Alaska Airlines flights were canceled out of Orlando. According to the FAA, a window in a piece of fuselage blew out of an Alaska Airlines plane blew out mid-flight and forced an emergency landing in Portland, Oregon. The plane took off from Portland Friday afternoon, 174 passengers and 6 crew members on board, and climbed to 16,000 feet before turning around, flight showed. A passenger on the plane told Fox 12 he heard a really loud bang just as the plane reached cruising altitude, prompting oxygen mask to drop. Another passenger said a kid's shirt was sucked off his back and out of the plane, and other people on the plane had their phones and belongings fly out when the window blew out. Wow. Miraculously, no one was seriously hurt. The Port of Portland told Fox 12 that the fire department responded and treated minor injuries at the scene. One person was taken for more treatment but wasn't seriously hurt. It's unclear how many other planes and commercial airlines will be impacted by the grounding. Man. Wow. Habib, what's up? How you doing tonight, Habib? I hope your new year is starting off great. I was thinking to myself with this, I'm like, if somebody flew for the first time, they're never going to fly again. They're not going to have any faith. But, we don't have a whole lot of these instances, at least here in the United States. Where I live, I mean, I could go outside right now, and I am in the path north and south, and these planes are just back to back to back. So the amount of planes that are in the air versus how many times we see things happen is very rare, right? You got to give it to them. It's very rare. What they do is, it's pretty phenomenal if you think about it. We're talking 170 people, 16,000 feet, 20,000 feet, and, when was the last time we heard something like this? They do a great job at what they do, and, the stock's going to get hit from it. Real quick, also, Apple. There was some news that came out Friday. There was some news Friday coming out. I think not the New York Times. It may have been the New York Times, I think. Let's see here. Let me put in. I was taught, it was funny because Friday, and I'm going to go into charts, and we're going to cover my trade. It needs to get unstuck. Alright, it's whatever. I could go to stock twits, but so earnings. Alright, so Boeing, there's a trade idea. I'll cover more of that, but these are going to be my levels. It's hard. We have to see where this thing gaps down to. I'm sure it's going to come in with a gap down. It's just where is it going to open at? So that's that. The other thing I wanted to do, traded Nvidia Friday. I wanted to cover this trade real quick, and kind of go through the psychology, right? Because I was thinking back, right? I took this trade and there were a couple things that went through my mind. So I take this trade and we had ISM manufacturing numbers that come out. Give me 1 second. Let me find it. All right. Let's go 2 weeks ago. No, let's go right here. We go right here. If it's too loud, just let me know. All right, now guys, this trade, we got in at 44 cents. 45 cents. I'm sorry. 45 cents was my fill. 45 cents. Good deal. How did I know to put that limit order at 45-cent entry? This thing in about 20 minutes, a half hour, they went to $5. This was about, I collected because it went to my target just about 100%, just under 100% on this trade. I took half off around like 25% or so because I got the extension. All right. And I was managing my risk. All right. But we're going to talk about this. So this trade was huge. All right. This is a 490 call for last week. We were in weeklies. Now, there's more into this that I'm not going to really go into right now. I can talk about it more at another time about how much I put, some of the things that I do that you guys may or may not know about risk management, right? And some of the things that I do. So let's pull this up. Let's see where this is at. So this is the entry right here. Now you're going to notice that I say, let's look for, in my mind. Now, when I go back and watch this, I say things and I don't really say things to fully understand to you guys. And I need to do a better job of that, of explaining myself. But you'll notice here that I say I'm going to look for, we have a bull flag right now forming. And what I'm looking for is a failed breakdown. This bull flag to fall, right? Shake people out and then get to pull back down into this 495 area or 485, 484 and grab some liquidity to go higher. That would be a failed breakdown if you don't know what that is. All right, so let's watch this. Here, let me, if you guys would like me to put it full screen, I can. It's on 1080. It actually has a few more points to go. You can see the S&P is 468.99. But this is also another good area. So what I'm doing is I'm seeing what the overall markets are doing. All right, so the overall markets are coming into resistance. The S&Ps at the time of me taking this trade and were coming into resistance, and I was giving that out. We'll go to a 5-minute chart real quick. Right here. So as you can see here, this is about where the S&Ps were. Let me make sure the time is right. It was right here. I'm sorry. Right here. It's a 5-minute chart. Let me go to a 3-minute. Alright, so the S&Ps are coming into resistance. So this psychologically is kind of in my mind. And I'm talking about this level right here. Right there. This whole area. If I were to pull it up for you, it's this whole area right there that the S&Ps are coming into. So I can see the overall markets are coming into resistance. Now I'm watching NVIDIA, and NVIDIA at the time cleared its resistance and it held it. But I'm seeing these wicks. So in the top left is a 1-minute chart. The top right is a 3-minute chart. The bottom left is a 15-minute chart, and on the right, bottom right, is a daily. This is your time in sales. So let's see. Let's let this play out for a second. So if you guys are new to trading or have, what I want to know is, if you could comment in chat, what do you guys want to get accomplished this year? Is it a certain amount of money? Is it being consistently profitable you would like to fix? I know I say this, it's coming up. It's got to be coming up because I said for that it can't change, right? It can change. It's 9:55 ish. This volume is just getting lighter and lighter and lighter on this consolidation. That was another part that was killing me, right? And so I'm thinking, I'm really taking all these things. What happens here if anybody's going to try to take the long? I don't know if we need somewhat of a pullback to fill this gap below us. So you can see me questioning myself because I'm seeing this 15-minute gap here below us. And now I'm questioning whether or not this is going to hold, but I should not be doing that, right? This is coming into ISM. Now I've went and looked at the SPY. The SPY's coming into resistance. So now I'm putting all these things into my mind. The SPY's at resistance. This volume is pulling back low. But I forgot that ISM was getting ready to come out. But I wrote on my charts yesterday 490 for a short. We're above this pivot. That's the last time I'm going to pause it, but 490 is actually my target for this long. High. Just trying to make the best decision. Again, just because something is a short, or just because something's, like not everything is a short or a long, is what I'm trying to say. All right. And you can see here on the real quick, right here on the bottom left. This is your time in sales for your options. Look at the top left number and the top right number, your bid and your ask. Okay, look at the very top column and get an idea, because when I exit, when I get in this position, what you're not seeing here is because I didn't know my camera wasn't on at the time, is that I am watching the options so that I know about what price range I want to start. As soon as I get in, I want to set my limit orders. I want to have some orders out there. That way, if it gets there, I get filled. I'm noticing already the range, and you guys aren't seeing this. And this is also another reason why I could be talking a little I'm not fully explaining things to you the way I should be, and I'm going to work on that. Now, if you can see here, this 3-minute chart, look at this bull flag. This is a beautiful bull flag, and I'm expecting a breakdown. And I said it just a little bit ago. We may have missed it, but I'm expecting a failed breakdown to pull into this area and then grab liquidity and rally. Now, it's setting up, in my opinion, when I find out that ISM is coming out, which I knew in the morning, I just forgot because I had a doctor's appointment and I was in a rush. This, to me, before the data point comes out, is actually setting up very bullish. The SPY is coming into resistance. This NVIDIA has blasted through the resistance, and it's holding that area as support now. So I don't say this, but this is actually setting up, telling me that ISM Manufacturing's ISM is not going to be a bad number. This is actually going to rally. And I don't say it, and I kind of, you'll see. I don't say it though, but I do remember I do remember instinctively telling myself I'm okay with this trade because it's cleared the area that it was struggling at to an area of resistance. It's like, what? Is there any meat on the bone? Let's go to the daily down here at the bottom right. I know it may be a little hard for you guys to see. It's hard for me to see too. I wonder if I forgot about that. Oh, we have ISM Manufacturing. That's right, guys. Yes, I forgot about that for a second. I forgot about that. Nice bull flag here. I'm just being patient right now. I'm being patient with the vid. So if you guys hear me say vid, and this is another thing when I don't speak clearly, I mean NVIDIA. When you guys hear me say with the vid, NVIDIA. All right. Let's see if this is a failed breakdown. See if it breaks down, but then watch your option prices again as this is going. Watch this top corner of this blue box. Does that say 12-cent bid? Am I reading that correctly? That's a 12-cent bid with a 60-cent ask? Or that's the orders filled? Maybe it's got to be slid over a bit. Either way, you'll claims itself. I want to see a light volume pullback. I want to see this volume be low on this pullback, and that'll give me it'll give me the confidence. So now you're seeing already we just hit 55. Now I'm struggling because I'm watching the options. I know we opened up. The S&Ps are at resistance. I know. Sorry, guys. I know we opened up around 90 cents, 85 cents. We stuck to that 75, 70 cent area for the options. So I'm already psychologically understanding where the option prices are. We're coming in at 10 o'clock. From 9:30 to 10:30, depending on how the stock moves, is going to depend on the option price, right? Yeah, I can take the math and I can divvy it down from a half hour to every hour to every 2 hours, right? Every 6 hours, every 5, whatever. I can take the theta and delta, and I can pretty much come up with the math it'll give me an idea of where things are. But for right now, I know where we opened up at roughly. I know where we're at. So when I start seeing this come into support and it gives me those numbers, I'm getting in. And when I get in, I'm immediately putting in my limit order. You're gonna see. And then I fix my camera. Sorry for interrupting, but I'm trying to give you guys an analysis on going through this. Right now, I'm getting ready to watch this drop in because I'm ready for a long. I'm ready for this long to drop in. I'm getting in. Or could possible resistance in this area. All right, it's that area on the S&P for you guys is 460 or 469. All right, and we're about there. It's this whole area that it's at right now. So feels like ISM Manufacturing is going to come in at the right time. There's our failed breakdown. Remember, what's the trend? The trend is to the downside. Is this your first? Is anybody that's here? Is this your first time here? All right, I think it might be time. All right, look. So you guys didn't see this. Let me back it up. Look at this option price when I click this. 47 for the ask. All right, I think it might be time. 46, 45, 44, and then we see 30s. Failed breakdown, guys. Right, you're going to see 30 here. 43, 44. This is where about we get filled. I think I should be getting filled here soon. If you go back to this video, which was from Friday, and if you just go to like the 4-minute mark, whatever, you're going to hear me say, I'm looking for a failed breakdown on this bull flag. I said it because I went back and watched it. I said it, but I only said it once. This is what I'm thinking. So I need to do a better job of speaking more on what I want to see. And like I'll say it once and I don't repeat it because I'm doing a stream and I'm new. So I apologize. At 40. So I just took, I got filled at 40. Man, I shouldn't have did that right in front of the number, but I did. Oh, man, I shouldn't have did that right in front. I got filled at 40. So I just took, man, I shouldn't have did that right. I just wanted to see what, I thought we hit 30s there on those options. I just wanted to see. 45 entry. So I'm getting filled on the ask because I'm market ordering in. I already know I have up to 70 cents. If I get a rally, I'm getting at least 60 cents. Order out. Let me see what this on a 45-cent option. I think it's going to pull back. I need to get rid of this. Second guessing. You're seeing everything, and you're psychologically, relax. So this is why you got to go back. Go back and watch your trades and see how you're reacting. What I don't say, and I thought it to myself in this trade, is the S&Ps have not cleared resistance, but NVIDIA blasted through resistance, and it's been holding it this whole time. But here I am taking everything else and trying to make a reason to get out. All right, so I got a limit order out on a long, and I'm just going to manage this. I just put one in at like 75 cents. So what I'm saying right now is that I am in. All right. But what I'm doing right now is I market ordered in, and now I'm putting a limit order at 75 cents. All right. Because from there, so I get that limit order out, I can manage it because it's really easy for me to just have the order up, change it if something goes wrong, and I can change it to 66 or I can raise it to 80. Now my goal here is to take this from this area, and I'm looking for like 490. If we get up towards high a day on 44 cents and I'm getting damn near 80, 90 cents, that's a 100% gain. I'm okay with that. Did not expect a 1200% gain, and I did not get it because I stuck to my plan. All right. 75 edit order. So I'm editing the order so that I can take half of my position and take some of the profits off as we get the extension. And I take some of it off at around, I think it was like 60 cents. Again, I did not know that the camera wasn't on because the blue light was on, but it wasn't up on my, you guys see me do it on this video. It just wasn't up. Let's go, baby. I'm going to take a piece off right there. I got filled at 60. Notice what we have here. Why do I have a 1 minute up? Because I want to see what the real volume is. That volume bar, so far, we have more buy side volume than we do to the downside. Now, this candle hasn't closed yet, but the increase in volume on this upside, the majority of that candle is to the upside. From 40. Let's go. Here we go. I'm going to take a piece off around 65 cents. I'm just going to leave that 75 there. Let's go, baby. Hey, we literally just called it for you guys there. We said, let's see if we get that false breakdown. Right? There's that increase in volume there. What you have here is that, I would love for you guys to be able to do that. And look, where are we at? 70 cents. You can bring your limit order down. The thing is, like me, I'm going to go into it in another thing because, it's a shame that nobody's here. It's a shame nobody's here. All right? Shame nobody's here. That's damn near 100% just in 2 candles, guys. There it is. So what I didn't do, what happened there was I took some of this, I took half of this position off right around here, right? I wanted to lock some of that gain in, and I thought that I had mentioned it. I got to do a better job communicating. There it is, 75, we're filled. I'm filled. Now, if you want to see what happened, all right, look at these. What's going on. Depending on, like, if you have to buy the stock, you to the upside, but it's just about. All right. And, this morning, and I was a little late. Look, they're almost. I can't stress that right there enough. You gotta find out how much, baby. That is an A+ setup for me, just as an example. So there's $3, right? There's $3, $4.90, $4.90 from a 45-cent entry. These had some meat on the bone, So going back over that trade, the number one thing in my morning was that. It just jumped up a lot there. That's not cool. Second, look at the S&P. Is there 9? All right, it's down in price now. It just jumped up a lot there. So if you guys want to go back, I did say it because I watched this back. All right, I watched it back. I said I want to look for a failed breakdown. So that morning I had a doctor's appointment. Everything about my morning was rushed. I was there longer than I should have been. I'm coming in today. I'm like, okay, I know where Tesla's at. I know where Oxy Petroleum's at. and I know where some of these names are, so it's not going to be too difficult. What's up, Basic? How you doing, bro? Happy Saturday, man. Sorry, I didn't see your comment, but so everything about it was rushed. So I'm not going to like, I wasn't able to spend my morning to get like a complete analysis and kind of, I feel like I could have did a better job at that trade. I could have managed it better, right? But I will go back and say that, the way my morning was, I was lucky to have that trade, and I am thankful for that near 100%, right? Half of my position size was like, what was it, like probably like 83 to 89. I have to do the math. And I took that first piece off around like 20%, 23%. So it it was a good week, right? I want to get better, So like some of the names I'm going to talk about now, I may swing these trades. Microsoft, that's looking really good. We'll get into the charts right now. But going back watching that, I can see where in some of the things I can see myself psychologically, am I talking myself out of the trade instead of saying, hey, the SPY is pulling into resistance. Nvidia has cleared resistance and pulled back to it and is now holding it. So that area is solidified that, it's probably not going to break, right? It's probably not going to break. And it was oversold, right? It was a stock that I was already looking for a bounce back. Okay, I was already looking for this to bounce back to those 490 area to get short, all right? And I was looking at this before the stream, and, I might try a long again. I think, going over some of this analysis, it's like, instinctively, I think Nvidia may have a little more upside to go, but that would be after a pullback. So if you guys have any tickers you guys want to throw in the chat, we'll cover them. Let's go over some charts, guys. But I wanted to go back over that so I can explain to you. You can watch me watching myself, go through that trade, right? I'm able to realize what I was doing and go back to it and watch myself try to give myself every reason why I shouldn't be in the trade, right? I'm not over position size. I'm not over positioned because I've already had 3 green trades. It was like 2 or 3 green trades already in the week, and I wasn't messing my week up. So even if I stopped out of that trade, I would have been okay. But maybe I need to put a post-it note, right? I already know my position size is down. I know how much I'm going to lose when my stop is hit, right? I know how much I'm going to lose because I know how to read the Greeks. I use the Greeks for my risk management. But to see myself try to give myself every reason, and again, going back to, man, Nvidia cleared this level. ISM is getting ready to come out. This is telling me, institutional trading and buying is telling me that this name is going to have a nice run today, right? It's telling me that when the data comes out, this thing's going to go higher. So try to keep it easy, right? And that's how I'm going to take this in 2024. If the Fed, going back to what we talked about earlier, if the Fed continues, if they extend this bank term lending program, I'm going to look for the market to make new highs, right? Now, earnings could have something to say about that, possibly, but chances are if the Fed's providing liquidity and earnings are even so-so, then, chances are the market sees a fresh new high. Chances are, all right? If they don't, then I'm going to be looking to get short-minded. Right now, we're first of the year, we're pulling back, so we've pulled back the first week, all right? So let me tell you guys how I'm thinking about the next couple weeks, all right? Depending on how CPI comes out and earnings, because we're coming right into earnings. I feel like the markets are at a place right now where we're probably going to look for that bounce back and say, hey, as far as earnings, now Apple doesn't have earnings for quite some time now. It feels like we're just jumping right into earnings, but I want to see something like, a bounce back in some of these names to roll over. You have a lot of different names that are setting up differently. Let's get right into it. I'm sorry for going on, but um, so I talked about Apple Friday. All right, Friday, I was like, it just sliced through the 50 and the 100, right? 50, 100, 200. I was looking Friday to say, like, it was weird because look at this tail and how Friday, it just stayed right here between the support level at 182 and the 100 day at 182.33. It was really weird, right? So I'm like, man, I feel like Apple should get somewhat of a bounce back to fill this gap here and then possibly roll it over. But, it was weird. And then what happened? The news comes out Friday. The news came out Friday about a DOJ investigation or whatever. But what's funny is Apple did not crack pre-market lows. So I want you to remember that. If you guys are thinking about, if you guys are looking at Apple or anything, this coming up week, I think that's also due in part because they're having a stock buyback. So you got to remember, every time that this thing pulls back, Apple's probably there buying it, along with whoever else is going to be buying the dip, right? Any chance they get at a decent company that pulls back because they think everything's gravy, right? They're going to buy it, right? They may have a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year, right? We don't know what their time frame is, but if we go to like a 5-minute chart here, you're going to see at the end of the day, someone's eating these shares up, whether it's Apple, institution, or both, right? Look at these candles, right? Look at Friday, green, green. Look at that huge candle there, green, green, right? This is a 5-minute chart, mediocre, and look at the low volume there. So I'm looking for a bounce back. I have it here written down. We'll go right through it now. Let's pull up even an hourly chart. This chart is so weird. I don't like it. I want to see us. I want to see us bounce back to 184. All right, 183, 184. All right, that's what I'm going to be looking for on Apple, is to get a bounce back. Now I'm debating whether or not to actually grab a long off of this 200 day if it gives it to me, and maybe make like an intraday trade. For like a day or two, and try to see if I can get this thing back to Thursday's highs, right? What is that, 180, 183, right? See if I can't take this to 183, but 184 is the target, right? That's a $4 move on Apple. I will be seeing if I could do that this week. So I can tell you guys right now, this is a trade idea that I'm going to be looking to take, right? I'm not going to be worrying about, like, this is not going to be like some home run. Like, I'm going to be looking to make like a home run trade out of this. But I will be watching it. I'm going to be watching JP Morgan, and we'll cover them. I'm going to be watching Boeing, right? That news you can't ignore. I will be trading Boeing. We just have to first see where it opens up at. So Apple, you're right at the 200 day. It's either going to sit here between the 200 and 100, or we're going to get that bounce back. And I think we can, right? So if I go over, I don't want to give you all my magic tricks, but look at this monthly chart. Pretty sure it was Apple, right? Look at this monthly chart. So Apple has pulled right into the 9 monthly trading I can't even say it. So it's pulled back to this previous high support, right? Let's go to a weekly. Now look at the monthly, right? This thing has been making new highs, and the RSI is making what? New lows. That's bearish divergence, guys, right? And here's the stock making highs. So long term, right? You're going to see here with this analysis, why do I think we're going to get a bounce? We may not, but probability would tell me there's a bounce before there's more downside, right? And I'm thinking short-term trade to the upside, sell it, turn around, get short, right? It could consolidate. That's also the third option. It could consolidate. So if you try to trade options, get time, right? Don't think it's going to do it in 1 day or 2 days. All right, there's another weekly look at this, right? And look at the daily. So this thing is way oversold on the daily chart. All right, way oversold. That's actually a pretty nice double top if you ask me on Apple. So in order for me to like this to the downside, for further downside, I need to see a bounce back, right? I want to get short the bounces. I don't want to short the short, right? And get my head wrung. So it's this is this is how you don't lose. So this is how you have to trade. If you don't, you have to learn how to do this. There were a couple other things that I was wanting to get to. So yeah, that's Apple, right? I'm going to be looking for a bounce back. Got to clear the 100-day moving average here, right? Got to clear the 100-day moving average. I would like to see if we can gap up, or not gap up, but get a bounce and get up to that gap up there. Fill that gap is what I'm looking for. Something like this, right? Maybe we open up, maybe get a small gap down, something. But I want to see something like this. Not in one day, but maybe 2 days. Right? That's what I'm looking for. All right. Again, not what candle, but this is the area I want to see if we can get to. All right. What else do we got? Microsoft. This is one of the best setups, I think, coming into the week. So this here, I may attempt a swing trade on this. All right, I might try for a swing trade on this. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to turn that on. All right, Microsoft looks really good, right? This thing is just, it's consolidated. All right, there's two things that I'm looking at. All right, there's two things that I'm looking at. It feels to me like, so Friday I traded NVIDIA and missed this trade because I wrote this down the day before was, I wanted to see Microsoft up here at 370, and I wrote it down in my chart right here. 370 short, and see if we can get 367, 366 to break. All right, but here's your 50-day. When you see these red boxes, all right, when you see these red or blue or teal boxes, that's my 100-day or 50-day moving average. The red is my 50-day. We haven't broke it yet, but you can see here, Microsoft is trying to turn this into resistance. I think we bounce. Okay? I still think we bounce. This is the area 370 to 371. All right? That area is where I want to look to see if Microsoft struggles and I can get into some put options maybe 2 weeks out, maybe 3 weeks out. Right? I'm not just going to, if we bounce on higher volume, which we could, then I'm not going to take it, right? I'm just telling you guys what it is that I'm looking for. Because this lower high here, this whole lower high right there, right? Turning this whole area into resistance, it's actually looking like it's ready to pull back. That 50-day is holding strong. All right. The problem with that is I haven't looked. Is Microsoft doing a buyback? Right? Just like Apple. Are they doing a buyback also? Anybody who is short for whatever reason, not sure why you would be short this market, but this level here now is solidified as resistance. We finally turned it into resistance. This was the trade. I'm sorry. This area up here, I missed it. I looked at it 2 weeks ago. I remember up here, I'm like, I want to get short up here at 376. That's a beautiful area. And it took it out in one morning. But even then, Friday, 370, this area here, 370 was an area that I was looking at to get short. It was 371, but that's why we have stop losses. You want to, looking at this, you can clearly see it's not 370, it's 371. But I traded NVIDIA instead. So if we can break this level, Microsoft's got some room. This is why this looks really good to me. Let's go to the monthly chart. All right, let's dig deep. All right, double top here. it looks here on a monthly chart like you might have room to like 345, 340 area. All right. Microsoft is also putting in some divergence here, right? Look at this. Stock making new highs. Stock's making new highs while the RSI is making lower highs. Okay. So, I mean, not that you want to go all the way back that far, but you can see clearly, you know, this thing is just steadily strong, right? The government uses it. Like this Microsoft is just an animal, right? I would not recommend, you know, shorting it, Microsoft. But I'm not looking for, a 3-month downside to this thing, unless we actually get into a bear market where the Fed does not help these, continue that program, right? That would be one reason. So there's the monthly chart, weekly chart, same thing, right? Same thing, just about, pulling itself back. Here's a high, putting in new highs. And we have some bearish divergence there on the weekly chart. Let's go to the daily chart. All right. So you can see this is obviously a key level here at 365. Is that what that is? 366. 366 is a pretty clear support level. Now we have a gap here. All right, we do have a gap here. We have a gap right here. If we can just get this bounce, I'm going to put this trade on. All right, now look at the daily chart. What do you see on that daily chart? So this is what I mean by there's two things I'm watching. All right, short term, we're a bit, I'm not going to say oversold, right? But 46 RSI, you're starting to get into that field where you're going to get some dip buyers. What else do we have? We have the 50-day moving average. We have the 50-day moving average. But so that's for you bulls, right? This is what I'm thinking, right? If we don't break this level, if I get, and I wrote it down before, if I get that 50-day moving average opportunity to take a long, I will. I'm not opposed to being long either, right? I'll take 3 to 5 points on this name, right? I will get paid. So I'm not just sitting here saying I'm going to short Microsoft. I'm going to do what it wants me to do. So Monday into Tuesday, see what happens Monday. The thing is now we have Boeing. Like there is a catalyst there on Boeing, and that's going to be liquidity, right? That's a fundamental catalyst that's changed the direction of that name, or could potentially change the direction of Boeing. So I'll be a part of that. Again, I just want to see where that opens up at on Monday. Microsoft. So if we do not break this level, even if it dips below the 50-day, I want to see how do we dip below it. Is it a dip below it on low volume, or do we get that bounce back, right? Do we get that bounce back to 370 on low volume, and I take the short at 370 because I'll be almost certain that we have a pullback again to the 50-day, and then see if we can finally break it. This is lower volume too, right? The real volume's up here at 376, right? That's where the real volume's at. But the other thing that's going on here is you have somewhat of a bull flag, if you guys didn't see it. All right, you have somewhat of a bull flag going on here, and I know I have a lot of lines, but you do have somewhat of a bull flag going on here with Microsoft. All right, and if I pull up the weekly chart, you'll see it a lot better. Hold on, I'm sorry. So this is the thing that I'm battling, right? This is the thing that I'm battling, because I do not, I'm not just going to be stuck in my ways saying, oh, I got to short it because it looks weak to me. It does feel like it's getting ready to pull back. It's getting ready to give us a pullback. All right, I think it does, and I think it will. It's just it won't be without a bounce back first. It's just, is that bounce back going to be 370, 371, or is it going to be up there at 375? My opinion, I think it's 370, 371 is where we can get that where we're likely to get that short. Yeah, 370. I'm sorry, 370. Yeah. Let's go. So if you guys see here one more time, I know I'm just going on and on. Look at that bull flag, right? Tell me that's not a perfect weekly bull flag. See if we start seeing some volume step up here at that 50 day, then I'm not gonna worry about taking the short. All right. I'll look at Boeing, see what it's doing, and I'll just come back in and take a long. So I'm not gonna be stuck in my ways just to lose money and think that I know what, that because I'm short, the market has to pull back, or because I'm long, the market has to go higher. We do got to turn 370 into resistance, though. All right, 370 is the support area. All right, 370 is that minor support area. You have your major areas and your minor areas. All right, that's Microsoft. So my opinion is I'd like to short the bounce. Not opposed to the long either. NVIDIA. All right, let's go to NVIDIA. I know there's a lot of lines on my chart. This is another one that I'm also would not be surprised if it moves higher. All right, I would not be surprised if it goes higher. And when I say higher, okay, I mean for this thing to put in a lower high is what I'm getting at. All right, I think NVIDIA puts in a lower high, and then or even a new high, right? I just think it's going to get to 500, 505. I think it'll get up to this area here, and then we see what happens when we get there. All right. It's held up. It's consolidated. I'm still looking at the short, though. I am. So if we get a pullback into like 485 and that holds again, excuse me, then maybe we can get a long from 485 to 500 area, right? Get 2 weeks out, a week out. It's pretty expensive. As you can see Friday, look at that volume. Look at that volume. All right. So institutional ownership seems to be supporting it. All right. So that's NVIDIA. Do you guys have any names that you guys want to go over? So there's NVIDIA. I haven't looked at AMD in quite some time. Let me look at this real quick. Yeah, see, you guys can see here it's turning this area into resistance a bit. Right here. So let's see if we can get a pullback and, it tagged it, rallied off of it. I think it needs, here's what I think. All right, here's what I think happens with NVIDIA. It's either going to extend, it's going to pull back and extend up to 500, 497 or 498, and then it's going to start working its way back down to here, to 485. I think it could do that. That's what I think it's probably going to do. I don't think it's going to give you a straight drop right here into this area. If it does, it does. I'll be there. I'll take the long. If I like it. All right? But it's either going to do this or because it could always just hit here again and then just get bought up to go to 500, right? Something like this, and then work its way up there and then finally gets finally pull back. So, when we come into Monday to see where we are and see how things open up, I will be able to give more guidance, at least in my thoughts on what I think things are going to do. But for now, I'm looking for either one, right? I'm looking for that pullback to this area to get long to 500, or it pulls back to 489 and then goes to 500, and then at 500 I get short. All right. AMD. I haven't looked at AMD in quite some time. Let's go to Tesla first. Unless you guys have any names you guys want to throw in the chat that we can look at, or any news. Neo, Palantir, I think, had some news. They had a downgrade. We can look at that. I haven't looked at Palantir. All right. Yeah. So I did come on to just, I'll give you guys my outlook. Like what I think the biggest catalyst is for 2024. Go over that trade from Friday so you guys can see me going over myself and see how it can help you, and then go over some charts. That was my plan for the night. If you're new here, welcome. Hit the like button, subscribe if you have questions. If you're new and you hear me talking about something that you don't know, hey, I have no idea what I'm talking about, throw it in the chat. Ask me what it is, because I'm sure there's someone else that's new that has no idea what I'm talking about. And if you ask the question, it'll help them out, right? It'll help them out. What's beta mean? What's delta mean? What's gamma, right? What's the moving average? What's the 9 EMA, exponential moving average? How does it work? All right. So Tesla's in a long-term downtrend. We talked about this on Friday or Thursday, right? Tesla is in a unique spot, okay? Now, Elon himself is a busy person. I get it, all right? As far as younger people our age, Elon and his crew could do everyone a solid. They have to, and when I say this, that doesn't mean that it's easy, right? It doesn't mean that it's easy, but if they could put the right team together, they could expand into so many other things that I think would help out margins. All right, we talked about it on Friday, right? They tapped into the automotive industry and won. They won, right? The automotive industry is so hard as far as money, right? It's so capital intensive. Engineering, buildings, to the assembly line, right? R&D, the margins, the material, right? From the spray booths, the engineering, the money that it takes to have something like that running. I know they have the gigafactories, they have the solar, I guess, things that they do on the side. But if they could tap into cell phones, if they could tap into computers and cell phones, right? Maybe software. If they could find a team, the amount of people that he talks about making millionaires, right? They could take so many people far, because this stock is still young, in my opinion, right? If you look at any of the companies, Ford, Microsoft, Apple, right? Owning them in the early stages and looking back 30 years and holding it, I'm talking for the long haul, if they are able to, I don't think they would have an issue, in my opinion. I think they could and would do a good job if they decided to do it. They've tapped into the truck industry. They've gotten the car part. Like, I would really like to see Tesla tap into a new industry. I really would. And something that's not so capital intensive, right? And it's just my opinion, but I think if they did that, man, the sky is the limit with Tesla, all right? So until they start to do that, I won't be buying this thing anytime soon, unless, we get news. I don't know what's been going on with them lately. I know that they let's see here. Let's go on StockTwits real quick. See what some of the news is. Tesla, now they released an article about Elon doing drugs. Oh, what? Smoke? Who gives a shit? So... Oh my gosh. So... that's all up to Elon and what he and the board wants to do. I think we need I don't know what to think about this now, because I was a little shy about this pullback, because we never pulled back and tested this area here from the earnings, right? This was earnings right there, that gap down. We got back up to the earnings and we broke through it. You gapped above it. This pullback right there, we never tested it, right? You wicked into it, but we never tested 220, 223. You just wicked into like the area and it didn't fully get in there. It didn't even hit 225, that psychological number. So when it did it that day and then we just consolidated and said, I'm like, man, I don't expect this thing to break out because I think it needed to really pull itself in here at this area to bring in some buyers. The one good thing that we do have going for it, see, no, the 200 day is up there now. I want to know I wonder, there is a trade to be had here. All right, let me back up. What I'm going to watch for Tesla, and we've done this twice already. We've done it twice. If you join us live, we trade here live every day. Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4. This is an awesome. I love when this stock is stuck between the 150-day moving average and stuck in a hole, because this thing is going to consolidate, and these moving averages are just going to get into a point where time has gone by, and then it squeezes either to the upside or to the downside. And with this failed breakout and this test, this 225 that needs to be tested, chances are it's probably to the downside. This was a trade that we did a few months back, right? It was right here, this day right there. We were long Tesla right here, and I talked about it, right? I said, look, your 50-day and the 100-day, it's coming in. It's going to get squeezed to the upside or the downside. It's going to have a nice move, and it did. So that's what Tesla's got going for it. As far as buying it, I'm a little weary. I am. I love Tesla. I love Elon. I love what they do. As far as a company, I think they need to try to tap into cell phones, computers, maybe services, right? I know he's trying this Grok AI stuff. Maybe he should have added Twitter to the balance sheet. I don't know. Maybe he shouldn't have. But I'm just saying, like, there's got to be something other than automotive. There's got to be. In my opinion, I just don't think the margins are there. I don't think the growth is there. The real growth is when you're able to have a few different industries in one company. Apple has iPhones, computers, right? Microsoft has software. They do, all kinds of stuff. Google, right? Tesla's going to have to do something like that, in my opinion, for me to get excited about this thing. So that's Tesla. All right. So Tesla, I'm going to be looking for resistance up here at the 100-day moving average. These could be easy trades. All right. These could be easy trades to be had. I'm going to go over Meta and a few other names real quick, and then we'll get out of here. I kind of wish I put together a better live stream, but you can see here Tesla, what is that, Wednesday and Thursday lows are actually resistance now. What I would look for is a bounce to like 239, right around, Friday's highs, and see if you pull it back to the 50-day, and if the 50-day holds, or if it does or doesn't, look for the 200-day to step in to help hold Tesla up. If you break below the 200-day, I don't know what you do from there, right? That's not good. If Tesla breaks that 200-day moving average, then I don't know what to say. I think it's a sign, right? You notice Microsoft, you notice Apple, right? All Meta, like, you see, even though they're pulling back, they're still up at highs. And that tells you that there's a lot of institutional ownership there, right? There's a lot of institutional ownership there holding up the name. Tesla doesn't seem like it has that. Feels like the institutions are, like, man, you got to do something. Like, you won the game, you're doing really well. Now, what else can you do? We need that growth factor, right? We hate to put the, we hate to put the pressure on, but, this is the game, right? It's called the game of growth. You're either a growth stock or you're a value stock. And there may be a day where there's not much value for you. So if you're not going to grow, and that value isn't, we don't really care for value, then, you know, you need to figure out what it is that you're going to do. But, again, a lot of this is just my own opinion. This could be a really, this does look like, if we could pull back a little bit, I'm going to tell you what I think with Tesla. If we could pull back, I would look for a bounce to 245. That could be a nice trade. You got the 100-day in your way. That's the problem with that. But technically, look at that chart, right? Look at that. If we could pull it back right here to this 50-day at 235 and then get a nice trend or a bounce off of this level, I'm going to look to see if I can take 234, 235 and try to take a long up to this midpoint, right, of 245. I thought about it. It was like I traded Tesla Tuesday off of this double bottom low. But and it was a nice trade. It was a nice trade. Right here. Or it was right there. Where was it? It was right here because I said 245. I didn't think 245 would break. The first time we got down to it, I didn't think it was going to break. Just like the 100-day. I didn't think the 100-day was just going to break like it did, and it did. It just sliced right through it, turned it into resistance. And you can see here, right? This blue box is the 100-day. It breaks it, it hits it, resistance, resistance. And it's not in a hurry to just get away from that area. It's just back down inside the 50 and 100-day moving average. So it's the weakness is kind of, for me, I feel like it's a bit overdone to the downside. And I would like to see if I could take a long on Tesla and try to get a 235 entry for a 245 exit. So I'm going to write that down right now, right? If you guys, pen and papers, let's see here. So TSLA, what we got? We have, this is what I would like to see. Doesn't mean we're going to see it. Come on. Boom, boom, boom. Man, it's turning that into resistance. 232. Where is... Sorry, I don't... There it is. This is the time frame. The time frame was a bit off. So... 230. 234. So, 235. This is what I'm going to write down, 235. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to enter right there, but 235 with a stop loss at like 233. So this whole area down here, it's got to be like to 233, I'd say. So that'll be a $2 stop roughly from 235. 235 to 230, probably 232. Yeah, 232 area. I don't think it's going to get that. I don't think it's going to get there. I think it's going to be here is where the rally starts. I really do. I mean, honestly, this is the support level. It's tough. Yeah. 235 to 232. 232.68. Because, like, what I'm looking for is, like, where... Yeah, make it 234. 235, 234. Long. And my exits off of that area at 234. Off of 234. So 234. Alright, so there's that line. 234 to 240. 240 will be a place of exit. So what am I doing? What am I doing here? So we're coming up. Yeah, 238. So exit. It's going to be 238, 240, 240, and a final take profit at 244, 245. 244, 245, final take. And I'll just put a little star there. Or whatever. You know, that's how you got to do it. And if it doesn't do that, like, I mean, are you going to short at the bottom? It's a no trade. The only way I'm trading is if it consolidates. The only way for me to trade this short, I should say, is if it just stays right here in this area for like 5 days, a week or two, and then I'm starting to see that it's just there's no energy to the upside, then I'll think about the short. But right now, I can't. There's no way I could get short here, right? It does suck though that the 100-day and the 50-day are so close together, and it's just stuck right between it. It leaves there's not much meat there, but maybe we can more so get through that area because it broke down through the 100-day moving average like it wasn't there. Who's to say that it can't break back up through it like it isn't there, right? It went to the 50-day. Now the 50-day it's holding, so see if we can get a bounce off that 50-day, get back up to that resistance level at 245. So that's a nice trade there, right? So take pieces off entry 235, 234, taking pieces off at 238, 240, final targets 244, 245 area. Just like that, guys. Just like that. But that's about all I have. AMD. We'll cover more of the names as I go through some of these charts. We'll go over them more Sunday night. So if you guys don't have any questions, you guys have a great night. I'll let you guys go. And I'll be here working, and I'll see you guys Sunday night. Sunday night we'll have all the things that I'm watching. We will have we'll see where futures open up. We'll go look at some of the energy names, and we'll keep it strictly charts. All right, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. I'll see you guys Sunday night. Thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, share it. Appreciate you. You guys have a great rest of your night.